Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to Daxko and Club Automation's webinar for stopping revenue loss. My name is Lee. I'm a customer success manager here at Club Automation, and I'm going to be the lead speaker for our session today. I'm going to start us here with a little slideshow that just talks about where we are and where we're headed. Like I said, my name is Lee. I have a whole team of Q&A with me today, though. If you work with us, you might have seen some of these faces before. I've got John Glink, Noah Ferguson, and Silvina Shay all in the background. They are our Q&A team. They are ready to assist us as we get into things today. So as those questions come up, I really encourage you guys, ask them live in the moment. Got folks back there ready and waiting to answer our questions for us. Also, I know this is a one-way video, but really today, as I'm going through things, I'm demoing all of our reports and different things. I would love for you to run along with them inside of your Club Automation instance so you can see the real data, see what I'm talking about, have those numbers be much more impactful for you as we go through. And again, I've got my wonderful support team here so that they can answer those questions live as you're running and working with your data. And with that said, I'm going to open a poll before we get started. And this will kind of leeway us into where are we going to focus our talks on today. So on the right-hand side of your screen, I believe you should see a polls tab open beside the Q&A. And the question is, where do you feel you lose the most revenue today? Do we think it's going to be failed or declined payments? Are we looking for those people that maybe have missing payment methods on file? Or it's just your past due members that you're unable to collect money on? Do you not know? Maybe you just don't have the reporting to even tell you where your money's flowing. Or is it maybe just inconsistent staff processes where sometimes we collect it, sometimes we flag them, sometimes we don't know if they're even coming in the door, kind of sort of stop them. Just take a moment here, if you will, answer this poll for me, see what we can get out there. And we'll go through and kind of talk on all of these points, but maybe focus in on some more of those where you guys are thinking things are coming in. I do see some answers rolling in, so thank you for those. Give that just a moment more. But that does give you insight today. We're going to be talking about reporting. We're going to be talking about looking at your EFT report, looking at our master billing report so we can see all the visibility, aging report so we can see who owes us some money, and also some best practices for getting those accounts flagged as well as collecting those payments. All right, it does look like I've got some votes. Oh, a couple more still coming in. So I'll give that just one more second. All right, we'll close that poll. Last chance. Boom. All right, so it looks like a lot of us are thinking we've got some failed declined payments. And it looks like the majority of us believe we're working with those past due delinquent members, that is going to be our primary revenue loss. So that is great insight to know as we go through today's. Let me go back here. Like I said, we've already talked through those. I won't spare you. I'll spare you the next slides. We'll jump right into Club Automation. So let me click this share screen window. All right, so now then we are in a test site, and I want to stress this. When I say test, everything is made up. This is a real Club Automation, but all of the data is going to be fabricated. Any relationship to real names, places, values, it is all made up and coincidental. So as we walk through and show you this financial reporting, the system functionality is accurate, but none of the names, none of the balances, none of that's attached to a real person, place, or thing. So I just want to call that out. And we're going to start analytics. So this is everything that we do is an analytics report. So let's start here in all reports. And there's kind of two sections as we think about best practices for how do we manage our revenue loss. We have a pre-EFT section, which is what we're looking at here. And this is going to be spotting those things before the EFT actually runs. So we typically do this timing-wise. Depends on when you're running your EFT, but if we think about we run the EFT every month, You want to start this 3 to 5 days or so before the EFT, so you have time to reach out to members, correct any problems, whatever you might see here in this reporting gives you some leeway time before the EFT actually runs. And we're going to start with just the master billing report. If you've never seen that, it is under reports. It's a financial report, and it's right here, master billing. This is going to show us everything in the system that is a user group that is going to generate a bill in our next upcoming period that we set. So for us, we want to look in the future. So we're looking who will be billed. And let's set this to next month, since we're thinking this is a monthly demo here, June. And that is really all that I need for at the moment. I'll run this and show you the base fields, and then we'll talk about some things we can add. But this is going to show us every member here that we have, their user group name, the fee information, who is being billed, and then what is their agreement method they're actually paying with. Some additional information that we can add to this report is if their EFT is enabled. If I run that as well, that will give us a little bit more insight. And I also actually wanted to go ahead and put credit card status. So now I have a good picture here of who is going to bill next month, what is their information they're being billed for, and then I can get some actionable items here, such as these people. Aaron does not have any sort of agreement payment method on file at all. So even if we were to charge him, we're going to generate this bill. There's no way for us to collect these funds. So that we need to reach out to Aaron, get a payment method on file, add something to his account as our action step here. Additionally, I can see other individuals here like Aaron Baker, who's got a mail bill. So we're going to generate this, but he's going to be one of those people we have to send an invoice to. We have nothing on file to automatically collect this data. So this is a really just big insight tool for us to say, hey, who is out here? What are they doing? Of course, everything is sortable, so we can see everyone who has no payment methods on file. We also can see here credit card status. Like I said, I did add this to the report as a field here in the left-hand side. We can see active. We also have expired cards that were out there, so that expired cards generally will not run. They'll come back with a decline error of some sort, so that we, again, want to reach out to those people in advance. Also, your EFT enabled. So in spite of all this other information being out there, we have the EFT is either set to yes or no. So if it's set to no, it will not run, even if we have payment collection information on file. So this is a really useful tool as well. So we can say, hey, what are all of our payment triggers? Are they all functioning all within a single report? Additionally, we can use a lot of filtering. So we've already looked at all this information. We can see it here, but if we add a filter from our right-hand menu, maybe I want to go ahead and reach out to everyone who had that credit card expired. I can do that by saying, hey, who is expired? Run this report again, and then we can export this to our communication center. This will allow us to send out text messages, email, app pushes, whatever functionality we have enabled within your site to reach out to these members proactively and say, hey, you know, your credit card's expired. And I clicked the wrong button there. Hey, your credit card is expired. This will move all of this over into our communication center, where you're able to draft that message, send whatever type of template you already have posted, or you can create something in the moment. But like I said, we can do email, SMS push notifications out to their app, all kinds of things there as that automated step. You do have to run the report, but then it can go out automatically. And again, I hope, like I said, you're running this report right along with me. You're seeing your numbers, you're starting to sort, you're starting to see what those values are within your club. This is going to be your biggest tool to stop those declines, stop anything else that's there. This is going to be the easiest dollar that we collect, is the one that goes ahead, is on file, and runs proactively. Okay, from there, we kind of think that's pre-EFT. We've run everything. We've made sure everybody has something on file. All of their information is good to go. The EFT itself is going to process. And then we're going to get into needing to read like what happened with the EFT itself. If I click into analytics, I can go all reports, and then we can go back over here to our EFT report. This is going to show us the data for our EFT, obviously. This, again, is a test site. It only has a limited subset of data, and I'll just run it as is for right now. Pull that back for us. And sometimes these reports, just take a minute as the system goes. That's your opportunity to take a breath. Here we can see who it is, what was charged, how they were charged. And then this is a status. This is the most important column here on our reporting. We either are going to have an OK, which means everything processed, we billed this, we collected this funds, everything looks great. The other process is going to be either a fail or a decline. These are two different things, but both of them means that we did not collect any money for these charges. So both of these are still going to be outstanding revenue items. What we can do here is filter this list as well. It has a status, and we can look at failed or declined individually. And that will allow you, again, you can export anything you want back to our Comm Center as we go through. You also have the opportunity to look through this. You can sort this as well just by clicking on our status columns. But I want to highlight that there are two different things here. Again, failed and declined. Failed is going to be a system functionality issue where we did not even send this from our processor to the bank for an answer. There are a couple of reasons for that. It could be that you have wrong information. It could be that we've already attempted so many times on a card that the bank has said stop attending or stop attempting. There's just a multitude of reasons in banking things that get complicated as to why we have to stop running something. But if you see failed, it means that it did not run at all to the processor, to the bank. Doesn't mean that there's something wrong with our system. It means that we ultimately probably need to recollect this payment information. And we'll talk here in just a moment about the different type codes that are in there that'll give us some more insights as to why things are failing. And then the other type is a decline that is going to be for, we actually ran everything on our side, we've got good information, we sent it to the bank, and the bank says no. That is going to be a decline. Again, there are tons of reasons here. This is a test data set, so if you're looking at my screen specifically, you have a lot of declined, allowed pen tries exceeded. That was kind of the test data set that they imported into this one. But here we can see that this failed as a restricted card cannot be resubmitted, enter a new card. So that it's clear, telling you very clearly this card will not run, we need new information. If I share this other screen with you, just want to call it that this is just a reference guide for common descriptors. We don't have an exhaustive list because they seems like they're ever growing and changing, but we do have a common reference list for descriptions for both failed and declines. I'm going to share that with you here today. And we're also going to include that in our follow-up email as well for a recap of this session so that you'll have this moving forward. But this is a decline codes. These are going to be insufficient funds. These are soft declines. So I do want to call that out that, hey, someone doesn't have enough money in their account today. Easy. Let's go through, recharge them. That has an auto reattempt process. Most of you guys have that set up. If you don't, reach out to us and let's talk about what it looks like to run the EFT again to try to reattempt those funds before waiting another full cycle before those get ran, like before waiting another month. But here we can see, some basic information. The bank is telling you not enough money, and the recommended action is to retry later. Same thing, please retry. It's just a temporary issue. Go ahead, retry that transaction. And then we have some others, like a card block. The issuer or network has blocked the card. And this means we cannot run that card. We will have to reach back out to that customer and obtain a different payment method. And again, these are not things that we're running or processing, the things that we're coming up on our side. These are going to be responses back from a bank, from their financial institution or their credit card. So when it says card block, get another payment method, that's not something we have control over. But now we do have the knowledge to say, I've looked at my EFT, I've seen those issues, I can know who to reach out to so that I can collect that outstanding revenue or prevent it from happening again on the next EFT run. Typically, we suggest running the EFT report. The next day after your EFT run, the day up, we still have some things processing. Sometimes it takes a little bit. So if you run on the first of the month, by the second, you should be able to pop this report open, go through and kind of see who's still out there and what can we do. One of the other things I would like to call out from this report is if you don't have some sort of automatic manual process or automatic process to retry, or if you're just wanting to go ahead and retry the EFT manually, we do have those options for this decline. Maybe we want to go ahead and manually do that here. I can select these members and then rerun their EFT automatically from within this report. So if you're trying to manually run EFTs for members, you don't have to go to their profiles individually. You can utilize our checkboxes here and rerun these EFTs. But again, you don't want to rerun failed cards. You don't want to rerun declines that are going to be hard permissions from our reference sheet, because those are going to incur additional costs for you just to process to then just come back as a decline. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're processing or manually running these things, as you want to go for those soft declines, which are going to be things like insufficient funds or that please retry that we saw earlier. Also kind of talking through here, you will see occasionally description like, hey, invalid card year, which as we talked about on our first reporting pre-EFT, is their credit card is expired. Just want to call out that Club Automation does offer a tool to proactively manage credit card expiration. It's called our Credit Card Auto Updater. If you're not familiar with that, you can reach back out to your account executive or even our support team to see about that tool, which can automatically update cards on file so that they will run. Theoretically, even though that card data is expired, it will still extend that out and allow us to process on that. So Credit Card Automatic Updater. All right, so process-wise, we've looked at our pre-EFT, we've ran our master billing report a week before the EFT, we've reached out to everyone who didn't have payment information on file, had those expired cards, had their EFT disabled. From there, we let the EFT run. We're now looking at those declines, we're looking at those faileds, rerunning what we can. From there, if something can't be rerun, we can again reach back out to those members, selectively try to get new payment methods. Those are going to be our two things there. After this, we've reached out, we've ran the cards, we've done what we can. Then we move into our aging report. So we say who failed, who still has an outstanding balance. We'll go back to our reporting, analytics, all reports, and we'll take a look here at the account aging report. This is going to be able to show us everyone that has a balance in the system. Let's just run this as is. I'm actually not sure how much data is back here. So again, takes a moment. This is your opportunity. Take a breath, catch up with me in our reporting options here. It's really going to think about it as it crunches all those numbers for us. And what we're going to do with this report is ultimately we're going to be able to filter this down to who has a balance by aging bucket. And here we can see it has run through this again. It shows us our member information, shows us our total outstanding balances, and then what's generated today, what's in the last 30 days, 30, 60, 90, kind of as we go on. Typically, when we see this, you can reach out to any point. Of course, the more a balance is aged, the harder it is to get collected. So that you guys, I would recommend starting this process. You've ran the EFT, you've let your retries go through. So maybe it's the next month, maybe it's a week or so after your EFT, depending on exactly when you feel best positioned to start reaching out to these members. But this will give you insights into who owes what and when. So for our example today, we're going to look at this who owes us for 90 plus days. That's a very common mark across the industry of once someone has a balance that is aged 90 days, we want to take action on this member. We want to cancel their gym membership. We want to maybe send them to collections, or we maybe want to flag them in our system as an outstanding balance. Whatever that case may be, it all starts right here. We want to come in here and do a balance amount filter. So where it says 90 plus days, if we put in anyone who owes us at least a penny in that 90-day filter, I can rerun this information. And there were a couple of them out there for sure. And then this is going to be a list that specifically everybody who has something at least 90 plus days. You may see people that have balances in multiple full kind of categories as we go through. And that's expected because, hey, they're still active. They're still working through the system. Nobody's been canceled yet. We haven't talked through those additional fields, but that's where we're headed. But we can see they have additional fields. Great. We've got our core people that these are the folks that we have a balance that is aged. From here, we can go in and let's look and add a member status. Oh, actually it is, it's right there. Member status, and we can see these are active accounts. Some of these are staff accounts. Some people have no membership assigned. We can, of course, always filter by these statuses within our system. Again, clicking over here. And adding in a filter. But what we want to make sure of when we run this report is that anyone who is active, like this Alice, that we go in and we cancel this membership. What that's going to do is stop building the balances on their account so that we don't continue to just have our balance books growing and growing. And instead, we want to turn Alice off. So one of the things that we do and recommend is let's go in here. Let's open Alice's profile. Is go to their payment information down here. Obviously, Alice doesn't have anything on file, which is probably how she ended up owing us a lot of money. But what we want to do is if they're in that 90-day bucket, immediately go in here and click this edit button and change their EFT to no. If it's on yes, change it to no. What that will essentially do is tell the system to stop attempting. Even if we do have payment methods on file, change this to a no so that we stop getting any of those declines or failures or anything that might be charging us money because we know we're not collecting anything from these extremely aged balances. If you are a customer on our older version of software, you will not see this right here in your payment method type. It says, EFT payment. You'll have a drop down that just says none. You would set that to payment. You'll have a drop down that just says none. You would set that to none if you're on our older version of software and don't see this EFT enabled button terminology there for you. So that's step one. Go in, turn them off. Second would be obviously let's cancel this membership. You guys know how to cancel a membership. I'm not going to walk through that for you. But the other option to do right here would be to create an add-on essentially. So once we've canceled their membership, they no longer have access to the building if you're using our gate system, or if you are using anything like the check-in screen where they're scanning their barcodes. Once we cancel this membership, that will effectively prevent them from using the gym. But we can use an add-on. And this is going to not give gym access, but it lives on the profile itself. I looked at that add-on, but I must have not have assumed it was active. But what we can do here is assign them a add-on that will live on their profile. So add-ons do not give anything to the member for a access-wise typically, but it is something that you can still see. So if you go into this person's account in the future, we have all kinds of things configured here about needing some required information. So let's go through that as we sell them this add-on. And almost done. So this will live here as just an add-on. You will see that add-on terminology. It will recur on their profile. You can, of course, cancel this if they ever do settle the debts with you in Club. But until then, this would just live on their profile. So if they ever came back to the system, they came back, hey, I want to join again, you'll be able to pull them up. See, they have a membership. Actually, let me show you what that looks like. Let's just cancel this. Sorry to backtrack on you, but that is probably a better visual than just me talking about it. Is that you will see they are a canceled member. So if they wanted to come back in, they wanted to join again, you can see they are canceled. They have a guest user group. But they still have this recovery access that we're using just to demo here as a collections functionality on their account. So I'm not going to get access, but something that staff members can always still see and call out to them, like sent to collections or whatever your terminology may be, so that it's always there in front of them. They're able to track those and kind of have that conversation. The other thing that we can do to help facilitate those conversations is also check-in rules. So if you guys are not using our check-in functionality, somebody comes up to the front desk, scans in, it shows you on their page, hey, here they are, here's who they are. It makes lots of sounds based on their access, as well as some flagging that we have within the system. So we'll see this one. Click on Oscar. I guess you guys can probably hear my audio, but you got a bonk sound. But this does tell you he's restricted by our check-in rules. So we can set these based on balances. So if someone has a balance that's greater than this dollar amount, or even if it's something depending on your specific settings, if it's a balance that's also aged this many days, then allow them to check in or not, so that we can stop them at the front desk. Even if they have an active membership and you're not ready to cancel them yet, we can still set up check-in rules to catch those folks that maybe, their payment failed this week or last week. They're still in those early stages. They're still using the gym. We can set check-in rules and then have this conversation there at the front desk, which is a really effective method for collecting this. You guys can't set those up yourself, so you would reach out to our support team if you guys need those configured or have questions about what yours are. We're always happy to assist with those. But if I go back over to my aging report, I have just a couple more things to call out before we end out this session, which is we also partner with other third-party services. We love our partnerships. One of those is Aldus Associates, which is going to work essentially as a debt collector who can work those balances that have aged out past 90 days. They have an API. They can talk directly to our system, pull all those balances out for you. They can update that as well when they take a payment or collect that for you. So if you're interested in that, definitely let your account executives know. You can reach out to support if you're looking for some more information on it. But we do have a partner that specializes in collections of those 90+ day balances. Also want to call out that we have revenue recovery services. That is an in-house Daxko opportunity for you guys that they'll reach out to customers. It's like 3 phone calls and 3 emails for each charge that you guys have, trying to collect that information for you. They're not a debt collector. It's still active servicing that we're working on, but it's also another tool that we offer to try to help with some of these balances that continue to grow. So those are all of our tools that we have today. I'm just kind of running through here my notes on this one. So to pull this back together, we've got a couple of sections. Pre-EFT, run your master billing report, check and make sure everyone has good payment information. If not, hit that Comm Center, hit the individual members, try to get that payment information before your EFT runs so that we're good there. Once the EFT runs, next day, look at that thing, see what's going on, check out those failed, who can you rerun, again, who can we reach out to? And then finally, we have our account aging report, which is, typically a couple weeks after your EFT, you're ready to settle everything. You've collected, who you could have. So then you're going to rerun this, see those outstanding balances, and again, start those outreach attempts. And again, this is something that you can export to the communication center as well. So again, you can still use our automated tools and messages for broadcasting out whatever it is you would like through your own built templates. And that's kind of the overall process for stopping some of those revenue items that we commonly see. And I am going to come back over here and I'm going to stop sharing and just take a look into our Q&A and see what's going on here for us. See how that's going. And I've got some questions I think that are out there. It does look like someone said here that I'm showing V2, but reports should look very similar in V1. That is true. So everything that we showed today is generally going to look exactly like like what we saw. So tried to call it the EFT difference that I knew of between the two. Will this flag all members on a contract as well is a question from Dale. Dale, I'm not sure where I was when we were talking about a flag. If you were talking the check-in rules, we do have the ability to set check-in rules by individual or by family that's connected, so that we do have both levers when it comes to a total family balance or individual balance, if that's what you're referring to there. And it looks like these other questions here have all been answered. Okay, Dale says yes, that is what he was looking for. And all right, I don't see anything else that's outstanding, but if you guys want to hit us with any more questions while we're still here and ready, definitely feel free to. All right, I've got one more ask of you, which is another poll. As we've went through this information today, did your perspective of any of this changed as you ran your reports? Or do you now have a confirmed look at, yeah, this is where we're losing this revenue? So if you guys could just take a moment and answer that one more poll for me over there on the right next to that Q&A section, I would greatly appreciate it. It looks like I do have a couple of answers coming in, so thank you. All right, yep, still getting a couple more votes. Okay, awesome. I'm going to leave that open just a moment more. I'm going to hop off of the stage, but I thank you for spending the afternoon with me. Like I said, you guys have any questions, feel free to reach back out to our support team. We're always here to help. So thank you very much.